here's Ed Bernstein.
Carolina Sarassa used to be a reporter here in Las Vegas and an anchorwoman, and currently working at Fox Mundo in L.A., and has written a book called Dancing on Her Grave, story of the murder of Debbie Flores, which was a very publicized murder here in Las Vegas. And I'd like to talk to you about what inspired you to write a book about this murder.
Well, first of all, Ed, thank you so much for having me in your show. I've always admired your work. And yeah, finally, after 5 years, this book gets to be published. It's about Debbie Flores Narvaez's murder. It was a really sad case because it's a woman that she had it all. She was beautiful, talented, famous. She was an attorney. She wanted to become a dancer, and she got it. And she picked the wrong guy. So everything on her case was just so interesting. As a TV reporter, I always get a minute and a half, 2 minutes to tell a story, and it's very frustrating because I have so many details to tell about a story, and I'm always fighting with my producers. Can I have 30 more seconds? With this case, I got very close to the family, and we had so much information. All the headlines: Showgirl missing, Showgirl murdered, and nobody to care about going and looking for more information about Debbie. Debbie was a 30-year-old woman, and it happens to all. Turn 30 years old, and we always think, what am I doing with my life? She was an attorney. She had 3 degrees, spoke 3 languages back in Baltimore, and she says, I'm not happy as an attorney. I want to go to Las Vegas and become a dancer. Her family went crazy and said, what are you doing moving to Sin City? She said, I'm moving to Vegas. She did. Within a matter of months, she got many jobs. And the day that she was going to get the main position as the main dancer at the show, Fantasy, in the Luxor Hotel, that's the day she goes to her boyfriend's house and she gets brutally murdered.
Yeah. But initially, she was just listed as missing, and that's when you got involved in the story?
It was about 5 to 10 minutes before our newscast that I get this message from a dancer, a girl that I had a couple of months ago, and she says, Carolina, I'm very concerned because my best friend didn't show up for the show. I know her. She wouldn't have missed this opportunity. They had a red carpet, very good dancers and singers there for her. I'm very concerned. So my boss and I, we decided, okay, let's just run the story. At the time, the police just thought, dancer, dancing topless. I'm sure she went with a somewhere. Then a week is when they find that her car was abandoned without license plates, and this is when they big press conference. And at the time, the boyfriend, he was cooperating with authorities, and he seemed to be concerned about his girlfriend's whereabouts.
And of course, he was the perpetrator, and ultimately was convicted of second-degree murder and now serving time in Nevada State Prison. But how he murdered her and disposed of the body was quite a story.
Yeah, it was really sad because the guy had already been in jail a couple of times for domestic violence issues. This was a guy that had already problems. He used to work for the show Love, the one about the Beatles here in town.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yes, yeah. A very big show, and he process how to Jason time that you decide to do things, you're gonna get fired. So the day she goes to his house and they get into this big argument, that same day he kills her and he says, what do I do? I have this body at home. If I call the police, my career is over. So with the help of his friend, they just dismember the body in a way. They get a handsaw and just get 2 containers, plastic containers, put the pieces of the bodies in different parts of the containers, cover it with cement. And this is when they hide this body in an abandoned home here in Las Vegas.
It's like a scene out of Dexter.
Actually, the day Debbie went missing, she told her roommates, I'm going to go to Jason's house to watch Dexter. They had the DVD. So nobody knows if they got to watch the DVD before night, but it's very ironic that they were going to watch Dexter the day she got murdered. That same way in that show, how he kills people.
Yeah. Well, obviously they had a very tumultuous relationship. Now, I think we have some video that we'll show, and then you can explain how you got access to the video, okay?
Yeah.
So you're admitting that you assaulted me.
I'm admitting that I hit you, that I house, that I looked at your laptop, that I poured egg whites on your car, that I slashed 3 of your tires because I said I'll give him 1 left, and that I didn't do eggs because I didn't want the paint to be damaged. I am not going to lie about anything I'm doing, but I
And
did it
you do
because
this because you think I can't prove it.
No. You think when I'm slashing tires, I'm like, oh, he's like, we don't know. Do you think I had to actually tell you I slashed tires?
No, you
knew it was gonna be me when you walked out.
but you
Basically, slashing the tires is this. You think you can with me and hurt with me and lie to me? I'm gonna react.
But you do it, and you make sure that there's no proof that you did it, so I can't take any legal action.
Lou, talk with me legally all you want. You will lose. No, I don't. That's not my mentality. Do you know when I came in here? Your next door neighbor. It was at 5:48 p.m. and the lady with the blonde hair saw me. I said, "Hi, how are you?" Walked right up on in. I don't give a. I know legally the law, and I know what is legally wrong.
Slashing my tires is not legal.
Right.
Slashing my tires is not legally.
It is damage to property that no one witnessed. But I knew that when you came out.
But you're admitting it.
I am admitting it.
So you're admitting to property damage.
Yeah.
So that is actual video of Debbie and her boyfriend,
Yeah.
right? And who was filming, taping that?
This was Jason at his house. He had said that she was stalking him. This goes to show you how desperate this woman was. This was a guy that in court it was said that he had 7 girlfriends at the same time. So she was a woman that was just obsessed with this man, and that she wanted him to change. We were talking about this before your show, how we women always think, oh, you know what, I'm gonna be with this guy hoping he changes. She was desperate. This part of the video was submitted in court by his attorney, trying to get a lesser sentence for him. But the Judge Delaney here in Nevada, she said, I'm not gonna accept this piece of video because it's edited. We don't know what he said before or what he said after. This was an argument they had, and yes, she admitted that she had thrown eggs at his car and that she had acted that way, but she was just a desperate woman trying to get answers by a guy that, yes, she followed him constantly. She used to stalk him all the time, but he also wanted to keep in touch with her. So it was, both of them were also at the same time were at fault for going back and forth with this very turbulent relationship, and there's no excuse for what he did.
Yeah. So he was convicted of second-degree murder.
First-degree murder.
Oh, first-degree murder.
First-degree
So
murder,
it was premeditated?
Yeah, well, this is what happened. In court, they weren't able to show that he really wanted to kill her when she showed up to his apartment. He didn't have the plan to do that. But what happened was what he did to the body afterwards. He was sentenced to 10 years to life. The judge really want to send a very strong message in Nevada that this would not be permitted.
And the family was very cooperative with you in writing this book, because the family was a little concerned about how the media was portraying their daughter after she was murdered.
Yeah, especially the sister. The sister is a woman. She's a single woman. She's a single mother. And she came to Las Vegas many times, especially when the trial got postponed 6 or 7 times. She was really concerned about her sister's image. A lot of the headlines just read, as you said, showgirl, dancer, stripper, murdered. And this is a girl that had more going on her life. Also, on his side, we only talk about a guy that's in jail forever. This is a guy that was also very well educated. He went to School of Dance in Juilliard. This is a very prestigious school in New York.
Yeah.
He got a full scholarship to go to school. He had 2 sons. He had moved from New York to Reno, and there he was working in shows. He was so great that he was called to be one of the cast members of the shows here in Las Vegas, which was huge for him. So it goes to show you how 2 lives could be destroyed. There's only a victim, and the name is Debbie Flores Narvaez, but 2 families lost a family member. His sons will never be able to hang out with their dad again, and the Flores Narvaez family lost Debbie forever.
Mm-hmm. So what is the message that you hope that people will receive after reading the book?
As we were saying, with women, we want to change men, and it also goes both ways. I guess we have to learn how to say no, how to put limits to our relationship. As much as we are in love with someone, our lives comes first. There's many resources available. The other day, I was talking to a lady who came to me and said, Carolina, I'd like to give this book to my daughter. And I said, this is a true crime book for your daughter. And she made a good point. She said, I'm always telling my daughter, don't go out with this guy. He's not for you. But she won't pay attention to me. She'll just think I'm just bothering her. When these teenagers look at Debbie's pictures and the career and everything she was getting in her life, they could see themselves reflected on their story. And hopefully, if one man, if a woman gets to learn and say no to a man, put limits on a relationship, it was worth it. There's many resources available. They don't have to read the book. You can just go to Google, type domestic violence in Spanish, English, and there's resources even for the undocumented immigrants.
Since this happened in 2010, you covered the story. You were probably the primary reporter covering the story, and then you decided to write the book. How long did it take you to write it, and what was that like for you? Because this is the first published book you've written.
Yeah, it's my first book. Since I was a little girl, I always wanted to write a book, but you want to do things, but you don't know how it's going to come along. I had so much information. This case got national attention in English media, general market, and also in Spanish. So I get this phone call from Diane Montaigne, who's the co-author of my book, and she says, I saw your report on a show on Univision, which is the equivalent to 60 Minutes. They give more time to a story. She says, I feel that we can write a book. So that's how she came along. Of course, you can tell my accent is very heavy, and my English is not perfect. So she came along to make sure readers don't hear my accent when they are reading.
The words.
Make it sound better, and she got very involved too.
So did you actually write it out or type it, or did you record it? How did you go about doing
Typing it, and my co-author lives in Florida, so we've never met in person. She says that she's my Cuban mom, and I say that I'm her Colombian daughter.
Right.
We've never met in person, always through emails, and it's been a great relationship. I used to send her stuff, and she changed it and make it look beautiful. She also got close with the family, and she's published many true crime books before, so she had the experience on how to do that and always put the victim first.
So what is it like for you? I mean, you're accustomed to interviewing others and reporting on the news, and here you are now, traveling around, on a book tour, being interviewed.
It's difficult, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm always the one in charge. I'm always the one asking the hard questions. And now you are asking me the questions. So it really changes the role, and especially it makes me understand how interviews feel. Because I'm always, when I get interviewed, they interview me for 30 minutes, and I only see a clip of a minute, and I'm like, you made me talk for 30 minutes, and
there's a lot of editing that goes on when you're doing a news report.
Right. Yeah. So I always get these phone calls from people, you interviewed me for 15 minutes, and you only covered one soundbite, one little piece of what I said, and that's happening to me. I talk for 30 minutes, and they only cover a minute. So it makes me really put myself on their shoes and understand, them.
You learn in the political world that you just come up with your one mantra statement, one statement, you just keep repeating it in the whole interview. So that's what gets on the news, right?
Yes, I know.
Just coming back to the same message. Yeah. And buy the book. The name of the book is Dancing on Her Grave, The Murder of a Las Vegas Showgirl. Just out within the last week. Unbelievable, right? So we can, Amazon.com, Barnes, and you're doing a book signing at Barnes & Noble, but, and she'll be, it almost reads like a fiction book, almost like a mystery novel, but it's real and it's true.
Yeah, if somebody wanted to write a book, fiction book about this, I don't think they would have had all the imagination to write whatever this man did. It was just sometimes at night, I'm a woman, I'm a Latina, I'm about the age she was when she got murdered. So just sometimes at night, reading and writing, I would just start crying.
Yeah, there's some
start thinking about this woman.
Some
it's really sad.
Gory details. But Dancing on the Grave, thank you very much, Carolina. We'll be right back talking about books. We have another book written about Tony Sacca that we're going to talk about. with Tony. Time can change many things, but what doesn't change is our commitment to serve you. So if you've been injured in an accident, or if you need help in your Social Security or workers' comp case, we can get you the best possible result.
Enough said. Call Ed. EdBernstein.com.
Well, you can't live in Vegas without knowing who Tony Sacca is. He is, God, you're almost like the Las Vegas sign. Are you as old as the Las Vegas sign?
Actually, they actually put a bulb in my honor on the sign, 6 of them, and I signed it, and they gave them out as souvenirs. I can't believe that. So I have a real bulb on the sign with my name on it.
I mean, you've done everything. You know, you're an entertainer, singer, musician, talk show host, marketing guru,
Souvenirs.
restaurateur, souvenir creator. Yeah, and you know, but very few people do know that you grew up in Philadelphia with a twin brother.
Right. Yeah.
And we were just kind of chatting about what it was like to grow up with a twin, because both of you were both musically endowed,
right,
and performed together.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
You know, you don't know the difference. A lot of people who are single child, they grow up different than me because I always had a partner with me, and that's why I think I get along with women, because I know how to be a partner. I talked to David Brennan, my buddy. I said, "You like to cuddle?" He goes, "No, I hate to cuddle." I said, "I'd love to cuddle." I said, "Maybe because I was in the womb with my brother, I was cuddling my twin brother."
Yeah.
So I've always had a partner, always had somebody with me. The only thing is I didn't have my own identity. I regret the thought now, but when I was growing up, not being who I was as an individual, people can't see you as an individual because you're so identical. We did a movie. I played an Army soldier. He played my conscience. You know, so it had its ups and downs, but mostly had its ups, especially when I was on the road.
There it is.
We're in the Marines together, and you know the drill instructor. This is one of the first that a Marine instructor ever did that. Had my brother and I take a picture together because they will never normally do that, but they just love this, identical twins. The drill instructor's wife was pregnant, so he thought that was a sign from God that his wife's going to have twins. So that was another benefit.
So did you ever have those situations where, like, you know, you'd feel something or sense something, and your brother would as well? If you're,
I believe there's something like that went on. Yeah. You know, he would hide something. I can go right to that spot and find it. Seriously, we were identical.
Right.
Where one egg is split in half, it's as opposed to a fraternal. For every 300 set of twins born, one set is identical. That's the statistics on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you performed together in Philadelphia, and,
Right.
and what provoked you to come out to Las Vegas?
It's in the book. 1981, I'm performing at the LCM1 Hotel.
In Puerto Rico?
Yes.
Yeah.
A 3-year engagement there. And who's there? Siegfried from Siegfried and Roy took a vacation because of the MGM fire. A lot of the performers were in Puerto Rico. He comes and sees my show. He goes, "Wow, you guys are Vegas material. I invited you to Las Vegas." Well, I'll say this on television. I tell people this. You know, magicians, they use identical twins. They put one twin in one box, and the twin pops out of the other box. Magicians, please don't kill me for that.
So you were concerned that Siegfried, they were trying to get you to Vegas for part of their act?
I think so. I think so. But we've become friends ever since. When I got my star on the strip, Siegfried came on and made a testimony about how he saw me in Vegas and thought we were a great act. So we came to Vegas, but we always thought we were going to be a Vegas act because Robert and I always dressed up in a tuxedo, always did the show thing like Vegas was known for years ago. So I always thought Vegas was in my cards. I never thought I'd be doing everything that I'm doing here in Vegas, producing television, souvenirs, book. I mean,
So where did you guys, you and your brother, first perform when you got to Vegas?
We got a 3-year gig at the MGM Grand. Musicians were on strike. So somebody called me, "How would you like to perform at the MGM Grand?" We got here, all of a sudden we got a job. People thought the reason why Robert and I got a job right away because we were in the mafia. That's what they thought, honestly.
Yeah.
The twins got a job that fast, it's mafia connected. Had nothing to do with my talent, it was mafia connected. So the first job was MGM Grand, 3 years.
Yeah, and that's obviously a great place to land.
Oh.
Subsequently, your brother died.
Leukemia.
Of leukemia.
Yeah.
That must have been very, very traumatic. I mean, you guys were so close.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you reconcile through that?
It changes things when you realize my brother and I always kid about who's going to do what when someone is laying in the grave. And you realize how short life is. This big.
Yeah, did it scare you? I mean, he gets cancer, leukemia.
Right.
And, you know, people, you know, obviously there's some genes that go array that cause that. Did you feel like, well, maybe, you know, we're sharing the same genes, maybe this is
There was a
gonna happen to me?
possibility, but my
Yeah.
brother Robert had a lifestyle that was not like my lifestyle. It's in my book that I wrote, my relationship with my brother, him having bulimia problems, and then towards the end, drug problems. I think he killed his immune system, and I believe he got leukemia because of his immune system. He killed it, and I've questioned the doctors about that. I said, how do you get leukemia? They go, we don't know. So we think his lifestyle did it? No, we don't know that. I said, I believe that. So of course, we're identical twins. So I get blood checked every 6 months to a year religiously. I'm going in 2 weeks to LA like I do get my blood checked and see where my white count is. So I know my blood study because he had leukemia.
Now, I mean, over the years, you've done a lot of interviews, as I have.
Right.
You know, I've been doing this show for now, it's over 26 years. You've been doing a show.
It'll be 30.
30 years. Entertainment-related show on this channel, right?
Right.
Right?
11 and a half hours before this show
Oh,
airs.
okay, now I got to figure this. So it's Saturday night,
3:30
or
in the
actually
morning.
Sunday morning.
3:30.
It's Sunday, okay. Saturday night, Sunday morning for all those,
Yeah.
you know, partygoers, entertainers who are really up
Yeah. Yeah.
to watch it. Who's the most interesting person? Not interesting. Let me ask you, who's the person that was the most important person to you that you interviewed?
You know, if I was sitting there interviewing you for my show, I'd say that to you, and you would go, there are so many different people that we had an opportunity to meet and talk to, like when Anthony Quinn, to be near Anthony Quinn and talk to him and feel how powerful he is was one of the most exciting things in the world for me. To interview Kool and the Gang, when I'm on the road, I was singing Kool and the Gang stuff. To interview Kool and the Gang.
Heroes, you were growing up, they were heroes of yours. Now you get a chance
Earth,
to
Wind, and Fire.
sit there and
I'm talking to
buddy
Earth, Wind,
with
and
them, right?
Fire.
Yeah.
I did Earth, Wind, and Fire music. I did Chicago music. I'm doing music that influenced my career, put me around the country,
Right.
and now I'm talking to these people. And you know, you're an attorney, so I think you have a different approach towards interviewing people because of your background as an attorney. Right. Me being an entertainer and in the trenches on that, I have a different approach. And every time I talk to people who are in the business, they go, I like your approach because I'm an entertainer. So I know how they think. I know how insecure entertainers are. I know everything that goes on as being an entertainer because I'm an entertainer myself.
Right. So when you perform now, because you still perform,
Yeah.
Is your voice changed over the years? You
Better.
know, it's better.
I'm singing better than I've ever sang. I cannot believe it. At my age, I'm singing so good. In fact, Sunday, I was telling a young lady, I said to her, you're 14 years old. If somebody said to you, I want to go hear this 70-year-old man sing, would you go see him? Because I'm thinking of retiring because I'm going to get there pretty soon. You know what she said to me?
Right.
If he's good, I'll like him. It's a 14-year-old that said that
Well,
to me.
you look at Tony Bennett.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so to answer your question, my voice is getting better, which you could see me May 6th to the 10th at the San Gennaro. I've been hosting for 34 years,
Right.
just to throw that in there.
The San Gennaro Feast,
Yes.
a big festival event.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of people are there.
Tens of
yeah.
thousands, yeah.
And you also, you sing some, how would you describe the type of music you sing?
Well, I do the doo-wop stuff, which you're very familiar with, Philly. Grew
Right.
up in Philly. Grew up in the Motown and Gamble and Huff, doing the Intruders, you know, the Motown music. I do that. And then when I came to Vegas, I started doing Louis Prima, Sinatra, Bobby Darin. I never did that stuff when I was growing up in Philly because we grew up Howard Melvin, the Blue Notes, the Stylistics, the Intruders. That was the music I was doing. Otis Redding, I'm doing all that stuff. Doo-wop and those. Now I come to Vegas, now I'm doing the D. Martin and Frank Sinatra stuff. So I got all those genres down. I mean, I really got them down because I've lived them all. I've been in show business 52 years now.
Amazing. Talk to me about these little toys you brought with you.
Well, I wrote a song called Las Vegas Rocks.
Right.
When I celebrated my 20th anniversary television show. So this was the first award-winning review journal, Best of Las Vegas. It also sings and plays. It lights up. And then after that, I created, we call him Las Vegas Lenny.
Las Vegas rock.
I've always said if I can get $1 from each tourist, I might get wealthy. So I sold a whole bunch of these, and I'm working on these and the little alarm clock. that I have. But Las Vegas Rocks is a name that I've created. I own the name Las Vegas Rocks Variety Show. So these are my souvenirs.
Irony is, of course, there's no clocks in any of the casinos, and
Right.
here you are selling clocks,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
The big irony.
Yeah.
And so what is it that you haven't done that you would like to do?
I think now that I have this LA connection, and I am an actor, because I'm in Screen Actors Guild, I think I'd like to go to LA, knock on some doors, and make some cameo appearances on shows like Castle. Everyone says that I could be a
Goomba.
A Goomba. Yeah, I could. So, that's my character. So I think my next thing is television and movies, because this book could be a movie. It's a Rocky type movie. Father butcher, he was Bert with the cigar, cutting meat. My boys are going to be something in life. So I'd like to see this book turn into a movie, inspiring people what it takes to be in show business, diet, health, exercise.
Right. I mean, you have a similar background as Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
You kind of grew up in the
Yeah.
same neighborhood. Your fathers were kind of in the same business, almost the same age, right? Has that been a big inspiration for you?
They made Rocky right outside my mother's house, which I own now in South Philly, at 12th and Wolf. I came off the road, I see Sylvester Stallone walking down the street. I said, who is he? They said, we're making this movie Rocky. I
Right.
said, Rocky Graziano? They said, no, Rocky. So they actually made Rocky in front of my mom's house,
Right.
which is really exciting. So I think it's like a Rocky movie. How do you become an entertainer? I'm an entertainer now, but when your father's a butcher and no one in your family is in show, how do you become an entertainer? Study, practice, work hard, learn your craft. Yeah.
Well, the book, follows Tony through his career, but also, I mean, you've met some incredible people. There's some wonderful, one of a kind pictures that you have in the book
Yeah.
that you're not going to find anywhere else. Really interesting read about old Las Vegas and old Tony Sacca.
And Barnes & Noble here in Vegas picked it up.
Picked up?
Yeah.
You get it on Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, it's in all the outlets, Walmart, it's really doing well. I'm so excited. The back of the book says, from the city of brotherly love to the entertainment capital of the world.
And you can catch Tony on Channel 3 Saturday night, Sunday morning. How do you say that? What's the best way to say that?
I say late night, Saturday night,
Late night, Saturday,
3:30 a.m.
3:30 a.m.
Yes. Could we switch our time slots?
Oh, because I'm doing the lawyer thing. People are up in my time of the day. Your fans are sleeping at 3 o'clock.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
It's a whole different market.
That's true. Yeah, and
Yeah.
By the way, Ed, you're doing a great job. I love the way you keep entertainment happening here in Vegas with your show. I really do. I
Thank you,
respect that.
Tony. We'll see you next week.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for a lawyer, but with all these Bernstein lawyers, I don't know which to call.
The only lawyer I know is Ed Bernstein. He's been helping our community.
Enough said. Call Ed.
That's me.
EdBernstein.com.